So 4 weeks ago, I had a client reach out to me and said, Tom, I love all of the data analytics applications and software that you've built for my company. But what I really, really need is for you to help train our employees how to think like data analysts and data scientists. Give them the skills to help them be successful in their jobs. So what you're going to see is a multi-step training program that we've helped release and introduce to our clients to help train people how to become some of the best AI analysts in the world. I help run a $5 million agency. I've been building this stuff over the last 15 years. I think you're really going to enjoy the content. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. I want to welcome you to our Intro to Data Analytics and AI course. This is the very first set in our module. We're going to be covering a lot of really incredible, complex topics, but really what this course is designed to do is to try to help give you a really solid overview of the skills that we're going to be learning over the course of the next few modules. Now, I have a little bit of an agenda for what we're going to touch on throughout the set of this course. We have data analytics explained in career skills. I want you to learn a little bit more about what we're kind of signing up for, why people find data analytics to be useful, what skills they feel that they need, what the career range and values of the salaries that they get paid throughout the course of their career. And then we're going to be jumping into the process of data analytics and how that flows through a really complex set of workflows and ultimately shows up within a large company. We're going to step through it in a couple different ways. We have raw data, we have data transformation, we have data visualization, we have data analytics, or the part about building out models to try to predict what might happen in the future. All right, now I have a little bit of an agenda to go over here. We're going to start. Right, now I have a little bit of an agenda for us to go over for how we're going to break up and split this course into a couple of different sections. First of all, we're going to be focused on really what is data analytics at the end of the day, and what are the skill sets that you need to become very successful in your career. This is all going to be about trying to look at things at a very high level so that we can get a really good understanding about what you need and where that might be helpful. The remaining sections from 2 to 6, these are all going to be process related. It's going to be how do we take that raw data from something that we get from maybe a source system within our company and try to do interesting stuff with it through data transformation. Maybe we turn it into a dashboard and we try to apply visualizations. Maybe we try to do data analytics and build a machine learning model or a statistics model on top of it. Or even we try to feed it into a large language model so that we can try to really crunch through and look at really complicated ideas. All of these things we'll touch on throughout the part of this course. We're not going to do any coding. It's all going to be high-level understanding and skill set development throughout the course of everything. All right, so what is this course really all about at the end of the day? So I wanted to create an introductory level course that's designed to help you truly understand what is data analytics and AI. Data can be transformed in so many different ways, and what I'm trying to do with this course is try to help you identify how data gets adjusted throughout the process before it does that really cool transformation that you've seen or potentially heard about. So how does it go from raw data to something that does something really cool? But I'll be honest with you, this course is designed to focus on core concepts. I'm not going to try to dive into tools. We're not going to look at code. We're not going to look at things like SQL or Python. It's all about trying to help you get comfortable with the core concepts to help you understand these ideas to be able to discuss them with data teams. We will do that later on in the bootcamp, but I want you to be able to be comfortable with this before we dive into some kind of advanced software so that you can kind of get a good high-level understanding of what's there. Everything about this course is designed to help you build and develop a really solid starting point so that you can get started and understand the concepts. Some of this might be really basic for you. Others of you might find this could be the most important course in the program. All right, and just to reiterate that point one more time, right? This is an introductory level course, right? We're not going to do any advanced automations. I'm not even going to show you any advanced automations. Not going to dive super deep into AI, even though we're going to learn a lot of really cool use cases about how it gets used in companies. So why am I qualified to teach this program? Well, for the past 14 years, I've been the director of data science and AI for one of the largest consulting companies in the world. I've spent all of that time traveling across the US, solving some of the most complex problems that there are in the space. I've helped train operations teams and IT and analytics departments to solve some really, really difficult tasks. I think within the consulting businesses, AI and technical skills are incredibly, incredibly impactful. And my objective here is try to show you how to transform your organization and transform your work into something that's going to be AI friendly by trying to point out some of those examples where it may not necessarily make sense. I think a lot of professionals know that manual tasks steal their time. They soak this up. They're drowning in complexity. They don't have 2 to 3 years to become some kind of super tech savvy wizard that knows everything there is to know about programming. They do know, however, that technology and AI solves a lot of these problems, and they can get a lot of leverage out of their business because it can automate a lot of the work that they have to solve. So what I try to do with this program is try to reach out to those data analysts and consultants and freelancers and operations leaders with that really difficult, complex back-end tasks that's sucking up so much manual time and effort, and try to help them skyrocket their value without having to hire expensive consultants or spend years trying to become tech wizards doing this stuff on their own. This program is designed to be practical, delivering hyper-specialized project-based education courses on data analytics and AI and automation to help you become the best professional that you can possibly be. All right, welcome to Module 1. I want to talk a little bit about the skills that I think you will find to be incredibly helpful throughout the course of your career. And I want to kind of show you the data that backs up why those skills are actually helpful and exactly how many people need data analysts, honestly, in the world today. So I want to start off by showing you a report by the World Economic Forum. And they looked at the fastest growing jobs by 2030. And surprise, surprise, data analysts and data scientists are ranked as the number 11 fastest growing jobs in the world, kind of outpacing DevOps engineers and information security and cybersecurity folks. I think one of the most interesting things as I was reading this was how many of the skills that we're going to learn in this program are actually related, right? If you can get really good at becoming a data analyst, it's very tangible that you could get any of these other jobs that I'm about to point out to you because they all have the same skill set. So in number 1, big data specialists. That's going to be somebody that's going to understand how to work with large databases using SQL and Python in order to process and automate a lot of complex tasks. Fintech engineers, right? These are people that are using that data specifically in the finance or banking space. AI and machine learning specialists. These are people that are going to be able to take all of those large data sets and do something transformational and really interesting with them. Data warehousing specialists. These are people that are going to be able to take huge sets of data all across the organization and put it in a place that's going to be optimal and easy to access for everybody within the company. All of the skills that I just talked about, they use SQL and Python and some of the cloud-based tools that we'll look at. Telling that so many of these jobs use everything that we're learning in our training course. Additionally, the World Economic Forum listed out the top 10 skills by 2030. And I think the 2 that stood out to me the most was number 1, AI and big data. Learning how to use all of these large language models with really big data sets in order to do something really complicated and important with was ranked as number 1. And then number 9, analytical thinking, or thinking through the processes to try to get all of this data organized in a specific pattern for it to be rational and well thought out and clean. But as I was looking at the rest of this list, you know what stood out to me? Almost all these skills are used on a regular basis by data analysts. Additionally, as I was preparing this presentation, one of the other things I found was from the University of Maryland, who was working with a company called LinkUp. And they were analyzing all of the different AI analyst job hirings over the course of the last 7 years or so. And one of the things that they noticed is that in red, they have non-AI IT job postings, and in blue, they have US AI job postings. And what you're going to see, since 2023, there's been a complete runaway with the requests to develop the skills for AI. Additionally, the University of Maryland worked with a company called LinkUp to try to analyze all of the different AI analyst job hiring that's been happening in the last 7 years. And I noticed something really cool. I see 2 lines here. One is in blue, and that represents US AI job postings, and one is in red, which represents all IT job-related postings. Since 2022, there's been a decrease in the total number of IT jobs that don't have anything to do with AI, and a massive explosion looking for the skills for people to become proficient in AI on their day-to-day tasks. AI is going to continue that trend because it helps maximize and eliminate a lot of the time that IT professionals are bumping up into. So by taking this course, you're building and developing a lot of those skills. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, if all of these employers are looking for these skills, what exactly is it that they're hiring for? There's all these different technology tools. I can't become an expert in everything that's out there. But what I wanted to do was break down a bunch of the really critical core ones that I think you can focus on to help specialize in your career. So I looked at 800,000 job postings based off of data analytics in 2025, based off of data from LinkedIn. And there were a couple of things that stood out. There are a lot of requests for about 5 different core skills with a bunch of buckets of tools underneath of them. And they're all slightly related. They're a little bit different, but there's enough that's there. They're looking for spreadsheet skills and low-code automation skills. I think most employers that are looking for this is really more of a tick the box. A lot of these programming skills like Excel is only going to be considered manual work for us. And you'll see why throughout the course of this program. Tools like Alteryx and Prophecy and Talent, these are low-code automation tools. So you can read a piece of data in, make transformations across it through a complex set of code, and then build and output something on the other end. I think a lot of these skills are starting to trend down now because AI has kind of come out and revolutionized a lot of those skill sets. There's still certainly a need for them in the marketplace because what it does is it helps take very non-technical business analysts and teach and develop them the skills that they need to become IT professionals or help work with IT or build and develop code that's similar to IT. Next up was database and SQL skills. If you have really good database and SQL skills, that means that you are able to go into all of these complex data systems, pull that data out, do something interesting with it, like aggregate it or summarize it or pass it along to another system or mix it with other data from different sources and ingest it into some other place. Additionally, there's data transformation and analysis skills. These are going to be tools like Python and R and Databricks, where you might take that data that you took from those SQL databases and do something even more complicated on it, like running machine learning models. And we'll talk about why Python can handle those types of problems and SQL can't throughout the series of our course. But I think it's important to know that this is a completely different set of skills that's going to help enable and help you scale your skill set. And then finally, they're looking for data visualization and communication. And this is more like Power BI and Tableau, things that you might load into an interactive dashboard where you might see a bunch of colors and see data kind of populated onto something other than a spreadsheet. All these used to be the core skills that data analysts were expected to have. But ever since 2023, this new thing called artificial intelligence has kind of come out, and all of these employers are jumping on these tools to try to figure out how to use them. The reason is because these large language models are able to take really complicated tasks that were very difficult for data systems to work with before and try to automate them and do something completely different. So it can summarize large text data. It can go into a bunch of documents and pull out the best field. It can try to rationalize and reason for specific problems that you couldn't necessarily train a model to do before. There are lots of different tools in this category. Some are designed to build applications. Some are designed for data products. Some are designed to be low code and help you build AI agents. We'll talk about a lot of these different tools throughout the course. And I think there's one clear winner that kind of helps separate and solve a lot of these problems. We'll talk about this more later. But Databricks touches almost every single one of these skill sets that we can use. So over the course of all of the office jobs that exist, what I have done here is on the bottom axis is listed out all of the technical complexity and really kind of all the compensation. The harder the job, the more it tends to pay. And on the left-hand side, I'm trying to represent the total number of people that have those jobs that exist in the marketplace today. A lot of people have basic digital skills. They know how to do spreadsheets. They know how to do data entry. Less people know how to work with low-code visualization skills. And as you get more complex with that skill set, so learning how to build out databases, learning how to build out ETLs or extract transform I'm trying to pull you from the left-hand side of this graph to become more and more technical so that you can expand your capabilities in your career. And finally, what I wanted to do was to give you some, low to high tier salary expectations about what it is to be a data analyst. And I pulled all this information off of Glassdoor in the US. One of the things that I want to call out is there's a lot of progression within the industry. You might start out as a data analyst, but you could end your career becoming more technical or maybe even becoming a manager. There's a lot of upside mobility to this. And of course, the more data there is, the more technical you become, the more you might be able to rise up and lead specific teams. So you might start out in between a 70 to 120K job, but you might end up at a job that pays 200K, 300K, 400K as you try to move up the industry. There's also other lateral moves that you can make if you want to become even more technical than some of the skills that I'm going to teach you. If you want to become a data engineer, some data engineers I know in Silicon Valley are making 300 to 400K a year. Some of the data scientists that work for large corporations, they're also making as much. But I wanted to help you level set your expectations about what range you might potentially be for part of your salary as of 2025. This is all just designed as a guide, just to try to help you understand, what's available to you.